Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Speed Racing Network here for our Xfinity series. We're bringing you the regular season finale at Richmond Raceway for the Rich Get Richer 150. Man, Dean, we saw a heck of a show last night in our truck series for their final race for the regular season. First off, man, how you doing tonight? And, what are you looking forward to tonight here?
Yeah, Jake, I tell you, last night was an absolutely crazy event. The Truck Series guys had some awesome racing the whole way around. We saw much of what we've seen all season in terms of Cole Martin up front, dominating. Had a little heat from behind, but once again just managed to get that truck in gear at the right time and get moving forward. And Jake, I imagine we're going to see much the same tonight. Biggest difference is going to be these Xfinity cars. There's a very hot, slick track out there tonight. These guys are sliding around everywhere. So we got to see the multiple grooves come in last night, and I expect to see much the same tonight, Jake. Hopefully we have us another big group of green flag runs like we had last night.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Dean. And, the great thing about tonight, obviously, we're going to, be focusing in on, who's leading the race, the battle for the final win of the regular season. But on top of that, man, the playoff battle, it just brings a whole nother feeling to the race. Tonight it's we keep our eye on it all night long, and it just kind of adds to that storyline of what's happening on the track. And I mean, last night it came down to the final lap for whoever fell into the playoff spots and things like that. So it's gonna create the exact same thing here tonight again at Richmond.
Yeah, Jake, and when the checkered flag flew last night, we had a feel for who was going to be in our championship playoff, and by the time the sun rose this morning, we had a little bit of a change up in terms of the points, and we got to see Bobby Anderson take an absolutely crazy strategy, stayed out at one point of the race, and wound up getting one bonus point, and that was the difference in him making the playoffs and missing it. So, Jake, we'll look much here the same this evening, and for those of you who have never tuned into a Speed Racing Network race, basically what we run here is a 20-week season. We run fixed setups, which means all the drivers have the exact same setups underneath their race cars, so they're going to be fighting the same loose conditions this evening. They have one fast repair, which means if their vehicle gets damaged, they can return to the pits and have essentially a brand new car rolled off the hauler, so to speak. They pay $10 a week to run with us. We pay out weekly and at the end of the season. This championship playoff that we speak of here, these guys are going to be fighting for $500 for first place in that playoff championship, as well as a five-person team championship that will pay out $200 at the end of the season. Jake Roel, last season, I had the very distinct benefit in this league of I finished runner-up in the points, but wound up winning the overall team championship. So that was pretty cool to go through and win last year.
Oh, absolutely, Dean. And it kind of adds another thing to the league, right? Not many leagues have that, team championship, in their league. So, last season and obviously this season, all across all three series, it's been something to watch. The guys are really all behind it, enjoying it, because it's just another aspect to the racing. Obviously you got your individual driver standings, but then you add the team championship aspect to this thing, and it just makes it that much better, right? And it's just, again, it's something each and every week to keep an eye on, see, the jockeying of positions in the team standings. So I love it. Obviously, more money going to our drivers, which is, for them, it's an awesome thing to have.
Yeah, Jake, and anytime you go through in any form of racing, whether it be real life or here with the simulator, it's always nice to be able to go through, get some recognition at the end of the season in terms of a little bit of cash. But here this evening, in terms of payouts, we're going to pay out 4 drivers tonight. We have a little smaller of a field than what we're used to, but Jake, 4th place is going to take home their entry fee of $10. Third place will take $20. Second will take $30, and first place is going to win a cool $40 this evening.
Yeah, and obviously, the smaller field, and now that we're in the final week of the playoffs, the winner doesn't get that free entry into the Cup Series, and moving forward through the playoffs itself, it's going to be like that. So if you've watched before and you go, oh, how come only 4 spots are getting paid out? That's why. Smaller field. Obviously, we don't want any conflicts happening with guys outside of the actual series that's on track having action. So, but yeah, it's still at the end of the day, man. If you finish the top 4, you get your money back, or even some extra coin in your pocket. But again, it's not just the race payouts we have, Dean Brahman. It's also that team championship, or as well as the individual driving standings, and you're going to see that here. It's going to be sponsored by Griffith CPA firm. Always shouting, always thankful for them. They've been on board for a couple seasons now, and obviously you see first place if you're the winning driver, you bring home $500. Third or second place is going to bring home $300. Third is going to be $200. Fourth place $150, and fifth place, man, I mean, $100. That's awesome, and you gotta, you put that together. Obviously, these guys that are going to be in the final 5 for the championship have been running up front mostly all season long, so they're winning winning money, on those weekly payouts plus the end of the year payouts. And then, Dean, you top that off with $200 if you're on the winning team championship. You split that with 4 drivers or 5. That's even more money going towards your name. So, big money to be had here for only paying $10 a week.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, you go and look at it here. If you go through and you pay that $10 a week, you go out here, you win you a few races. Let's just for the fun in the world here, Jake, say you go out and you win 2 races, at $40 each, right? That's $80. And then you go through and you finish third in the championship standings. That's another $200. You go through and your team wins a championship. You're going to split that $200 potentially 5 ways. So, Jake, I mean, by the time a season comes and goes, you could have a swing of a couple $100 there in your pocket. And, just a great group of guys to come out here and race with. And like I said, to be able to broadcast it here with Speed Racing Network is always a very fun gig to be able to do.
Absolutely, Dean. And, that kind of hits home. I know this is going to be your last one, tonight broadcasting with us for SRN for a bit. Obviously starting your new job, so congrats to that. It's not going to be the same, but, at the same time, I know you're going to be enjoying your new job, and, whoever I have the pleasure of sharing the booth with, they're going to do just as good of a job. But obviously, man, we started this thing out together, so it won't ever feel the same as having Dean Brummett, until you make a appearance back up here in the booth, buddy.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Can't wait to come back. But I'll tell you another thing I can't wait to hopefully do at the end of the season is to win this Butt Kicker Clean Driver Award. Basically, what this award is for any of those who have not tuned into our Speed Racing Network broadcast, basically a butt kicker is an apparatus that you attach to your sim racing rig to give you a more realistic feel. The bumps, the curves, just a little more of the racetrack. And Jake, I have a feeling just due to some of these short track action the last few weeks and a few incident points, I might not win that Butt Kicker Clean Driver Award, but if I don't, and if any of you at home are interested in your own butt kicker, you can use our discount code SRNVS20 for 20% off of your own order of a butt kicker. Definitely, and obviously it's great to have butt kicker giving one away for all 3 of our series. Big props to them, and besides obviously a device you can add to our sim racing or to your sim racing experience. Another thing we offer here at Speed Racing Network is going to be one of our Kane Cook coaching sessions. Obviously, Kane Cook, you see him here on the screen, driver of the number 15 Ford Mustang in the Coca-Cola series on iRacing. Now, you might ask, well, Jake, what is the Coca-Cola iRacing series? It's the top series on iRacing. It's the upper echelon of oval racing on iRacing. So Kane Cook is one of the top 40 drivers on iRacing, so he knows what he's doing. And something that he is very well known for is he's got the most hard charger awards on the entire platform of iRacing. And what that is, it's every single official race you're in, the driver that has gained the most positions from their starting spot, from the start of the race, is awarded that award. So Kane Cook has got the most of those particular awards, as well as the fact that his iRating there on the screen you see is 7,414. That's a very, very impressive feat. Not a lot of guys have that, and he's not only got one account with that, he's got a second account over 7,000 iRating. So who else better to go and book a session with? You can go do that on speedracingnetwork.com. Offers a one-on-one coaching session, as well as you and a friend, or a group setting if you've got a group of buddies, or or if you're on a team like a team in one of our leagues, you can book that on our website. Check it out. Awesome things. Dean, I know you've been in one, so I've only heard really, really great things about that. Yeah, Jake, when you go through and you take somebody who is in that upper echelon of any type of motorsports, it'd be like the equivalent of going through in the late 90s and having a an hour-long conversation with Jeff Gordon about how to go faster. So, it's definitely an awesome thing to have one of these pro drivers be on our side and be able to walk us through. And I tell you, Jake, don't know if they've ever done any Kane Cook coaching sessions or not, but when we go and look at our individual standings, we're going to see some guys here up at the top. Our points leader right now, Gregory Joyner, in that 85 car. Beautiful looking paint scheme, Jake. Kind of mimics that William Byron paint scheme, but Jake, we were talking about the playoffs, man. This is it. When you look through 1st through 11th, these guys are going to be locked in based off of points and drivers who are going to be entered this evening. Leading up to this event, some of these guys weren't quite locked in just yet, but just due to the car count, they will be. So right now, Jake, you've got 4 guys here who are really battling it out. You've got Nathaniel Mon, Devin Zimmerman, Emerson Ardon, and Brad Williams. These are the 4 guys who are trying to hang on here right at the very, very end. And the guys that are trying to knock them off outside of the points are going to be Nick Goen. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Nick is going to be able to make it with us this evening. So what a great season he has run, but it looks like that the championship potential is going to end this evening, unfortunately. But Josh Marcy there for our team, Jake Rowell Smith Racing, going to be fighting his way. Greg Olenek for Rev Racing, 22 points out, needs a lot to go his way. And Stan Hausman there, 26 points out. Not mathematically eliminated, but it's a big uphill climb there for that 19th place driver.
Definitely. And, I just want to add to it, Dean, obviously with the smaller field for these guys, obviously Nick Goen is not here tonight, so nothing can change there. But for Josh Marcy, he's got to gain, 9 spots on, that driver that was 15th, who was Brad Williams. But for 18th and 19th spot for Greg Olenek and Stan Hausman, man, they need an absolute miracle, Hail Mary type thing with, I believe there's only 26, 28 drivers in the field. So you got to hope those guys that were above the cut line are absolutely at the bottom of, the finishing order. And you've got to be somewhere within that top 5, leading a lap gets you a bonus point. Winning the race gets you 3 extra bonus points, as well as leading the most laps is going to be another bonus point. Obviously, you and I, we saw what happened last night with Bobby Anderson leading a lap, how much that, how crucial that was for him to make the playoffs. I just think for these 2 guys at the bottom in 18th and 19th, they've got to have a flawless race. They've got to be up front, every lap, just in the mix for the win. Because I just think that's, with the smaller field, Dean, it's really going to be tough for those guys to make it in.
Yeah, Jake, and for some of these other guys, when you look at like Nathaniel Mon, he's only going to finish 20th or better this evening. So he's got a very, now I'm not going to say easy path, but he's got a much broader path to the playoffs. You got Devin Zimmerman, who needs to finish 14th or better. He's been pretty well a top 10 driver all season. Emerson Ardon is going to have to finish 8th or better. Brad Williams is going to have to finish 5th or better. And if all of these 4 scenarios come to light, Jake, it won't really so much matter what happens outside of those playoff scenarios.
Definitely not. And that's the thing. These guys can write their own ship for themselves. So those guys are going to have to, keep that in the back of their mind while also racing the racetrack. But here you go. We got the Tropical Smoothie Team Championship standings. Bronco Motorsports is leading this thing. They've got 3 wins as a team. Obviously, you see them sitting there at 1,416 points. That's going to be Tank Racing in second place, trying to run them down. They've only got 2 wins to their name, but at the same time, they're right there in the thick of this. And that's the thing with this team championship. Obviously, Dean, this thing goes from race 1 all the way to the championship race at Texas, all 20 weeks. It never resets or anything like that, like the Drivers' Championship standings does. So it's an all-season battle for these teams. And then you got third place, Rowell Smith Racing. They've got themselves a couple of wins. They're kind of about 175 points, give or take a few there behind first, Bronco Motorsports. So they've got an uphill battle. And then obviously for these 3 teams behind them with Rev Racing, they've got a win. But they're sitting, almost 250 points behind the leaders. And then Team SRN, they don't have a win. But, even though R&D's got a win, Team SRN's just been that more consistent, as collectively as a team. So you see them kind of hanging on. And then obviously, like I said, 6th place is going to be R&D Motorsports. They're 519 points behind. So that is just a lot of points to make up, Dean. Obviously, anything's possible, but it's going to take a lot for these guys to climb up through the standings. Obviously, Bronco Motorsports has been killing it all season long, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, and I tell you, while we're here, looking at the Tropical Cafe or Tropical Smoothie Cafe team intros here, let's just take a look at who makes up each of these teams, and we'll start at the very tip top with your championship point leader for Bronco Motorsports. You got Rhett Tucker there with 3 wins in the 81, Nathaniel Mon in the 84. Your overall championship points leader, Gregory Joyner in the 85, Nick Goen there in the 88, and Brad Williams in the 89. Jake, I think what's most impressive here when I look at Greg Joyner being the championship points leader is the fact of, like I said, he doesn't have a win sticker next to his name. He's just been that consistent to be able to have this points lead.
Oh yeah, and obviously we don't show it in our standings, but I believe he's got 10 top tens this season. So obviously that in itself right there, how consistent that 85 car has been all season long. So that helps with the team aspect, even though he's not getting wins like his teammate Rhett. Consistently having top tens and bringing home big points days is going to help out a lot.
Yeah, Jake. And next up here, you have Tank Racing, second in the overall team championship standings. This team is composed up by several great drivers. You got Zachary Taylor in the 14 with 2 wins, Derek De Silva in the 5. You have Devin Zimmerman in the 33. That is the team captain right there. Mike Lepicki in the 46 and Emerson Ardon there in the 57. A group of guys who once again, Jake, have been very consistent. They may have had some bad luck here and there, but definitely got their nose pointed in the right direction towards the end of this season.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's an all season long thing. Obviously, Zachary Taylor won early on. He's not kind of had the runs he's wanting to have, but I think now that this is the last race of the regular season, and then obviously we're in the playoffs. Him, Mike Lepicki, Devin Zimmerman are in it. Firmly in the playoffs. Obviously, Emerson Ardon has still got to work his way into it. Obviously, he doesn't need to have a bad race here, the last one. But I think with those 4 guys being in the playoffs, I think that kind of turns the notch up for them to start reeling in Bronco Motorsports for this team championship.
Yeah, Jake, and third here, it's going to be the team you and I are quite familiar with. I'll tell you what, I'll let you go ahead and take this one as the boss man.
I appreciate that, Dean. Obviously, on the screen, Roel Smith Racing sitting in third place for the team standings, led by their 2 winners here, Jovi Sagipet in the 3 car and Ryan Ducombe in the 7 car, the 2 cars you see on their screen, followed by their teammates Dustin Scruggs in the 11, Troy Techmeyer in the 32, and that 35 car of Josh Marcy, who's trying to get himself into the playoffs tonight. He needs to finish 9 spots ahead of Brad Williams. So that's a storyline for us to keep an eye on. One of our teammates trying to get into this thing. So, they've kind of struggled this last few weeks. Obviously, Martinsville was a disaster for them. They were at one point having 3 guys in the top 3, and things just went south real quick. But that's not the kind of nights you need if you're going to run down a team that has been so consistent week in and week out like Bronco Motorsports.
Yeah, Jake, definitely some rough luck there. And next up, you've got Rev Racing. Rev Racing here next in our championship standings. Now, this is going to be comprised of drivers like the number 66 of Joshua Siegfried, the 09 of Aaron Gerwitz, the 31 of Greg Olenek, the number 2 of Brad Davis, and the one winner here from this team, my old number from this series, Jake, the number 25 of Marshall Stanley. We mentioned Greg Olenek there in the 31 needing to have the just most perfect, greatest night. Right now, he's showing some speed this evening, Jake, so it'll be exciting to watch to see what he can do.
Absolutely. Right now, qualified P2, qualifying's almost wrapped up, so that'll be interesting to watch. That he's one of those guys we said. And here we go into our next team. It's going to be Team SRN for our team drivers. Obviously, the home factory team for Speed Racing Network, led off by the 12 of Wayne Rayburn, 13 of Bo Tiffany, who's got himself into the playoffs, the 21 of Danny Dow, Daniel Keith Jr. in that 23 car, and Stan Hausman in that 39 Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Beautiful looking car.
Yeah, Jake, and rounding everything out here in terms of the points, it's going to be Team SRN. Had a little bit of rough luck this season. Definitely can get it pointed in the right direction, especially given you got Daniel Bowdler there in the 6 with 1 win. Dylan Patterson has shown a lot of promise this season in the 8. You have Chris Heller in the 10, Michael Amenti in the 55, and Cody Havens in the 99.
Yeah, and then this team obviously, was joined with R2D2 Motorsports. But man, here we go, Dean. Qualifying's over for the final race of our regular season. On pole, Dean, Jovi Sagiped from Roel Smith Racing. Second place, that driver that needs to have that Hail Mary type of race here tonight. Greg Olenek in that Moo and Brew 31 for Rev Racing. Third place is going to be Zachary Taylor from Tank Racing. Fourth place is teammate Devin Zimmerman. And then another teammate in fifth place for Tank is going to be Michael Lipicki. So 3 Tank Racing drivers in the top 5, Dean.
Yeah, Jake. Then you got another Roel Smith Racing driver in Ryan Ducombe there in 6th. Going to have Nathaniel Mon for Bronco Motorsports in 7th. Danny Dow for Team SRN in 8th. Great run for him this evening. Bo Tiffany there in 9th for Team SRN. Dustin Scruggs, another RSR driver in 10th. Josh Marcy, another RSR driver in 11th. And Rhett Tucker from Bronco Motorsports there in 12th. So, Jake, a lot of the same names you see up here at the front, but I'll tell you, there are a few different names that we usually don't see qualify too awful well here. So, I mean, we're coming down here, Jake, to the final race before the championship. We've seen how these guys can race all year long. We got a hot, slick, D-shaped oval here in Richmond, Virginia. Who is your favorite to take home the win tonight?
I'm going to take a guy that really thinks he blew his chance last week at Martinsville. Might be a little biased here, but I'm going with that 3-car, Dean. Sitting on the pole, Jovi Sagipet. He's going to get revenge. He's been down all week about it, in our Discord, and we've been practicing, running official races. I think that 3-car is going to show the league that he should have won last week at Martinsville on a short track, and I think he's going to get it done tonight, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, I tell you what, when I look at the first 3 guys there in the outside row, I think any one of the 3 of them can win it. I'm not going to take an overall pick, but I'm just going to take a broad one, and that way I can say I was right if one of my 3 drivers win. But I'm telling you right now, I think Greg Olenek is driving to save his championship season. He can get it done. I think Devin Zimmerman has shown a lot of patience here the last couple of weeks and seeing, what it takes to run up front here. I think he's got a great chance. And Jake, you took one RSR driver. I like Ryan Ducombe back there in 6 as well. So, like I said, Jake, you took one driver. I'm going to take the first 3 on the outside row as my parting gift. How about that?
There we go. It's your last broadcast until the next time we see you. So I guess that's all right. You can bend the rules since it's your final show. I'll give you 3 drivers to my 1, and my driver's driving the 3-car. So it's a little foreshadowing. Maybe someone with the 3 is going to be one of our winners. The 31's got a 3. Obviously, the double 3, the 33 is Zimmerman. So we'll see, Dean. But here they come down the backstretch. The lights are off the pace car. So that means this pace car is going to be coming off into pit lane, and we're going to get this thing under green flag racing, buddy.
Yeah, buddy, Jovi Sagipet's going to have the field to his command. Got to watch for that wheel spin. Don't want to open any old wounds, but we are racing here at Richmond. Jovi gets onto the gas, and down for turn number 1 we go.
And down into 1, he gets himself clear to that outside car of Greg Olenek, and Zachary Taylor is going to make a move for second here, but he's getting really loose out of 2.
What a save by Zachary Taylor. Jake, that's the big thing you fight here at Richmond. Like we said, we were mentioning that hot, slick racetrack. The tire pressures are low. They got to take a little bit of time to build up there, and I get it. Under green flag conditions, you want to get the most positions, the most track position you can out of your tires, but heck of a save right there by Zachary Taylor.
Yeah, he was dirt trekking at it too when we saw that there. He runs some dirt racing a lot, so impressive save like we saw. But right now, they've kind of single filed out for the top 5, and then it's kind of about 5th on back. It's where the action's happening right now, and Jovi Sagipet still leading this thing. But man, Greg Olenek is trying to take the lead here and get himself up front, get a bonus point, and try to lead the most laps.
Yeah, Jake, he definitely wants to go through, like we said, and have that most perfect race. And I tell you what, I got to give a shout out here to our production booth this evening. If you look at the top of our ticker across the screen, you got drivers who are in green who are already locked into the championship playoff. The drivers who you see their name appear in red are on the outside looking in. And if you see a driver...
we got Devin Zimmerman around. Or no, I apologize. There was another blue car. They looked exactly the same.
Oh, my goodness.
I believe that might have been Mike Lipicki. Those 2 Tank Racing cars look identical. And yeah, sure enough, it was the 46.
Well, the 46 is around here, Jake. And to my quick point here, if you see a driver in red, they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. And if you see a driver in yellow, they're on the inside of the playoffs trying to maintain that spot. But you mentioned it, Jake. Lipicki around. Let's take a look at the Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia Rec Replay just to see what had happened here.
And here they go, down into 1. Sure enough, it's a Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia vehicle that kind of made contact with the... Daniel Badler.
Man, Daniel
Hard
Badler,
leg.
heavy damage. Oh, goodness. Jake, unfortunately, when it comes to Daniel Badler the last couple of weeks, if there has been a driver who's been in the wrong place at the wrong time, It has been him. I wouldn't want him within 20 feet of me on a racetrack the last couple weeks.
And you see here, these two just incidentally get into one another. That's what sends the 46 around. He's trying to save it, and obviously the guys behind him just got nowhere to go as he's coming down the track trying to save his car. And for Daniel Bowler on lap 5, a huge hit there. He's gonna have to use a fast repair, I'd imagine. And we're only 5 laps into this thing.
Yeah, Jake, and I tell you, that's a tough call right there. It's like, that there's some heavy damage. He's probably going to be down on some power, but, just because of how this race can turn, it makes you wonder if Daniel Bowler wouldn't be willing to maybe forego the fast repair right now, just see what type of natural damages his pit crew can go through, get repaired for him, and he knows he may run at the back for a little bit. Last night's race had several good green flag runs, but never enough to where the leaders really had to contend with lap traffic. So if I'm Daniel Bowler, I might kind of put that into my notebook and say, hey, let's just kind of get this damage fixed. Let's not so much worry about the actual fast repair. Let's just go out here, try and turn laps as we can, and maybe save that thing for the end of the race.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy. Obviously, we got 150 laps, so we're a long way from that checkered flag. So with only having one fast repair, I think you kind of got to save it unless it's starting to cause the engine to overheat. You don't want to blow up and be sitting on pit lane for a while, or not even be able to make it back to pit lane and have to tow. That's just going to add even more time in pit lane and get you even more laps down. And at that point, that's just an uphill battle you don't want to have to deal with here at Richmond Raceway.
No, not at all. And I tell you, speaking of saving, one person who's not saving a darn thing is Zachary Taylor there. That poor right rear tire in these first 5 green flag laps of this race was shredded pretty much off that car, Jake. He was hanging that thing off of turn 2 multiple times. I mean, he came off there a couple times, and you could just see the passenger side number almost. So he's going to have to calm down a little bit on that equipment if he wants to be there at the end, because while he's driving that car as hard as it's worth, Richmond will eat up tires. It'll do it in a very quick hurry. And like I said, Jake, he's just got to be patient and know how much race you have left. Definitely. And,
that's something we got to watch is at what point, if we go on a long enough run, do our leaders, come down pit lane and get tires if they think, they've fallen off enough to make it worthwhile to come down pit lane. And, at the end of the day, though, here we go. Another restart. Jovi Soggy pit on the inside. Zachary Taylor really up high by the wall, trying to get a better jump on Jovi, but Jovi's going to clear him into 1, and Zachary Taylor stuffs it into 1 on his outside. These two guys are going to be side by side, and this is where, if you're Jovi, you hope Zach doesn't get loose, but obviously he doesn't at a 2, because if Zach's got to save the car, it's naturally going to come down the track, and Jovi's the next thing to the inside of Zachary Taylor.
Yeah, Jake, one thing we saw last night in the truck race, the outside lane was really what you used for the passing lane. If you could get the car to get to the low line, very close, almost contact there between Zach Taylor and Jovi Soggy Ped. But if you could get the car to the low line and get it to turn, yes, you could get a heck of a run off. But right now, Zachary Taylor just makes quick work of Jovi Soggy Ped. He's going to look out the windshield, and he's going to have the field to his rear now as we begin to work lap number 11.
Yeah, he's going to try to drive away from the 3 car, and obviously if you're that 31 of Greg Olenek, you were probably a little bit nervous having those 2 guys side by side battling that hard, because if those 2 get into an accident, you're the next car right behind it, and you've got to choose where you want to go to avoid it. And the last thing this 31 car needs to do is get involved into an accident as he's trying to make his way into the playoff hunt and get himself into the first round of the playoffs next week at Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, Jake. Now, for any of our viewers at home, I actually had watched the replay there in terms of the wreck with Daniel Bowler. He's mired back into the field right now, just a little bit further. He is in the 16th spot. He did actually have to take his fast repair. That car just sustained entirely too much damage. But another car that was involved in that wreck, which was the 11 of Dustin Scruggs, he actually did not elect to take his fast repair. So he is still out there. And if you actually look, he is in front of Daniel Bowler. So he may not have too awful much damage more than cosmetics, and that might play very well into his favor as we get closer to the checkered flag this evening.
Yeah, we got 3 rows too wide here behind Scruggs. Obviously, these guys are battling. Some of these guys had to come down pit lane to fix their cars and just make their way back up to the front. The 09 of Aaron Gerwitz trying to make that high side work. He's going to clear the 09, and that's one of the guys right behind Dustin, that 89 car, Brad Williams, who needs to have a good enough run to keep himself above anyone below him, on the outside of the cut. That way he keeps himself in this race for the playoffs.
Yeah, Jake, and the big thing here right now with Dustin Scruggs, you got to know what type of damage you have. Your spotter's got to be talking to you. And these guys behind you without damage, they're going to be
a log jam right here. We're going to be 3
oh,
wide off
it is. It's not going to be good, Jake.
Ballard, it's going to get contact.
No, Ballard's around again.
And there's the yellow flag, Dean.
Oh, man, Jake, that's rough. And he's already used his fast repair, Jake, so I don't know how much damage. I don't know how much damage the front end of that 6 has. I know that he's already into the championship playoffs, so we pretty much saw it live, but we'll take a look at the Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia Rec Replay just to kind of see what happened there, Jake. They were 3 wide working off of turn 2. Dustin Scruggs was up on the high side of the track. Bowdler just carried a ton of speed down into turn 1. Got to the inside, and it just looked like I couldn't tell who that was, but just a little contact with someone to his outside, and it sent him spinning into the inside wall.
Yeah, I think it was the 89 of Brad Williams was to his outside. And, you know, that's on a 3/4 mile of a track, 3 wide like that is going to be tough. And there it goes. And, you know, Daniel Ballard just blew up in the pits, so that's going to be his night if he's already used his fast repair. So the 6 car, man, is already out of the show, and we're only on lap 16.
Yeah, definitely not the type of finish that Daniel Ballard was hoping for. You know, when you get here to these playoffs, Jake, you know, momentum is definitely key. And for Daniel Ballard, just these last few weeks have been kind of rough for him. I know he picked up the win at Atlanta a few weeks ago. And other than that, I mean, the last month has just been famine for him.
Oh, and here we go. We got some guys that have stayed out. 3 Rev Racing guys, and then you got the 85 of Gregory Joyner and Dylan Patterson behind them. And then that's where Jovi Sagiped would be the net leader if this thing cycled out. Sagiped wins the race off pit lane, but he's going to be restarting back in 6th place. So quite an interesting call with the tires, Dean. We'll see how this works out for these guys that have stayed out.
You know, Jake, I'm not opposed to the call right here, buddy. I mean, you know, kind of looking into the lap times from where I'm just going to look at Zachary Taylor because he was the leader, you know, at the point of caution. His first real fast lap was like a 22.659. By the time that run had ended, he had dropped off by about 0.4 of a second. And altogether, in terms of green flag laps, I mean, that was roughly about 10 green flag laps, maybe 12. So I'm not opposed to this run here. I think if Greg Olenek was taking care of his stuff, which, I mean, you saw him up front. He wasn't really driving, wasn't charging the corner, wasn't doing anything crazy. You put some cars between yourself and some of these leaders. And, I mean, Jake, if you can go through, get you a 20, 30 lap run and keep this track position, this very well could be the type of move that Greg Olenek needs for this evening. And
there you go. You know, he's led a lap, so that's 1 bonus point that he needs. You know, it's only going to help his cause. But again, you know, kind of like what we saw at Martinsville, you know, 0.4 might not seem like a lot, but at a short track, Dean, you know, that's a lot after a 10-lap run. So we'll see, though, if this, you know, evolves into a longer green flag run race here on this restart. But at the end of the day, you never know. You know, this thing turns into a yellow fest. It could turn out well for these guys that stayed out.
Yeah, Jake, Greg Olenek gets on the gas pedal here, and he's going to head for turn number 1. Aaron Gerwitz going to be right on his tail. Josh Siegfried there third on that inside lane.
And Zachary Taylor back in the pack, making it 3 wide all the way up along the wall, Dean. Didn't mean to cut you off, but man, was that a move to the outside along the wall. Jovi Sagiped's going to do the same thing here in 3 and 4. He's just trying to go where these guys are, you know, where they're not with older tires, and it's paying off for these guys that that went down pit lane.
Yeah, Jake, you look at Ryan Ducombe there on the outside, and look at that inside car there, that 8-1, Dylan Patterson, just trying to be patient. He could have charged that corner a lot harder than he did. And Jovi Sagiped makes contact off of turn 2. Or I'm sorry, that was Ryan Ducombe.
Joshua Siegfried, the 66 from Rev Racing, looks like he got some contact hit to the inside wall.
Yeah, he got some contact from the 7, Jake. It looked like the 7 just got loose coming off of turn number 2, and it's going to put us under caution once again here. Let's take a look at this Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia Rec Replay. And Jake, you can find Sandwich Man, their products on Shopify in terms of racing, die-cast, sports memorabilia, all sorts of great stuff. Yeah, the 7 just gets off the corner. And, yeah, he just gets loose, and Joshua Siegfried, unfortunately, just the innocent bystander and all that, Jake.
It kind of looked like the 7, the 66, and the 84, man. they were all got loose off the corner all together, and it just kind of, you know, accordion affected when they all got loose here. They're all trying to catch the car. But Ryan really got loose and had to save it by running it down the track there, Dean.
If Ryan didn't get loose here, Jake, he's going to have a heck of a run down for turn number 3. Probably going to clear Josh Siegfried, but like I said, low tire pressures. These tires don't have a ton of grip right now in this run, and you just see him charge the corner, starts to go around. You hear the RPMs kind of flutter a little bit, and boom, he's got contact. So, you know, unfortunate for Joshua Siegfried there for sure, but Ryan Ducombe going to have an opportunity to come down here, possibly use his fast repair. But once again, I just don't see the purpose in using a fast repair this early in a race.
Yeah, I don't think you do. You know, he's only got a little minor damage on the right front, or the left front. I apologize. You know, at a short track like this, it's really not. You know, it shouldn't really kill the car. So, and obviously he's coming by pit lane and not coming down to fix it.
Yeah, he must not be too worried about it there, Jake. I mean, I think it can hurt the car. I mean, it's not. I think I can. It's definitely going to hurt the car. It's probably going to make it very, very tight on the entry. But if you're Ryan, you've got to be careful here. You got to know, hey, I've got a little bit of damage. You know, let's just settle in. Let's get running. But I tell you, so far, Jake, for Greg Olenek, it's worked out pretty well. He's still up there in first. He's going to have Gregory Joyner, it looks like, here in second. Aaron Gerwitz in third, and then the two guys with the freshest tires, Jovi Sagipet in fourth, and Zach Taylor in fifth.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to get interesting. And Dean, we're going to bring up our pit reporter right now, Sean Griffith, buddy. How's it going for you tonight down on pit lane?
Man, it is fantastic, and just like I said last night, I love the math of this type of a race, and let me tell you some of it right now. So Greg Olenek was 22 points outside the cut coming into this race. Okay, the maximum points you can get is 45 points. Right now, we only have 22 drivers left in the race. If somebody came in 22nd, that they would only get 19 points. If Greg Olenek gets 45 by leading the most laps and winning the race, and then let's say that that Brad Williams gets only 19 points. A few other things still have to happen, but that could potentially still put Greg Olenek into the playoffs. So he is racing for his life.
Shades of 2004 at Richmond, Jake and Sean, the very first NASCAR chase
Next
to the
Cup.
Cup.
Yeah.
Jeremy Mayfield had to come in, lead the most laps, and win to have a spot, and he came in that night and probably had the most dominant race of his entire career.
Definitely, and you're right. I mean, that's what this whole playoff atmosphere brings you in motorsports. Obviously, you know, the old standings, it was just kind of the same thing as how our team championship is. It's, you know, a run from the start to the finish. But now with this playoff, it creates drama, different storylines, you know, different avenues for these drivers to get locked into the playoffs. So I love it. You know, it just creates races within the race, so to speak. And I mean, it just adds so much to, you know, our final race here in the regular season.
Yeah, Jake, and like I said, it's not even close to being done with. We're 26 laps, about to be 26 laps down of 150. Pace car is in, and Greg Olenek's going to have the field to his back. He's going to take off. Gregory Joyner's going to get a little contact from behind. Looks like he spun the tire.
Yeah, he spun the tires, and the 3 car ran into the back of him. He just had such a better run with those new tires, and actually the 85 just came over the radio saying he missed a shift. Zachary Taylor.
Trouble down the backstretch. Zachary Taylor's going to go around with Aaron Gerwitz.
No yellow. These guys are underneath the racing line.
Oh, we saw this last night, Jake. There's a yellow here, Jake. Jake, you saw. Oh, man. Oh, soggy pads around,
wow.
Jake.
Wow.
Oh, man. The plot thickens a little more here, Mr. Rowell. I think this is going to be a double-decker Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia Rec Replay.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to take a look at both of these accidents. We saw the first one with the 14 and the 09 happening as we had the camera on these two. Zachary Taylor to the inside of the 85 kind of cuts the corner to get underneath, and kind of looked like the 09 got a little loose, and, you know, Zach just nowhere to go, gets into the left rear of him. I heard Aaron Gerwitz come over the radio and apologize for getting loose in front of him. And that's what happens here at a 2. And then you just see the run the 14 gets as opposed to those older tires on the 09. And these two make contact. So we're going to move now to this other wreck, Dean.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happens here to our pole sitter, Jovi Sagiped here. Let's see. We get down into turn 3.
Oh, he gets a little shot from the 84, I believe.
Mate,
Nathaniel Mon apologized over race chat, so I got to imagine that's what we're going to see if we get a different angle. Here we go into 3, Dean.
Let's look here. Yeah, he got a little help there.
Yeah,
Jake.
you can see the rear bumper a little bent up from it, but he was able to keep it off the wall,
not
get run into, but just losing a ton of track position, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, a lot of time to make it up, though, here, especially when you got the talent like what Jovi Sagiped has. And, if you're the 84 there and Nathaniel Mon, hey, you made a mistake. Jovi and you were cool about it. You go on with the rest of the day. But right now, Jake, looking up front, you got Gregory Joyner, who's actually going to be leading this race. Greg Olenek opted to come down into the pits under this caution. So we got a little bit of a reset here on the field. You've got Gregory Joyner in first. Ryan Ducombe's worked his way up here. He's got a little bit of damage on the left front, but he's up in second. Nathaniel Mon up to third, and quietly, slowly but surely, Devin Zimmerman still sitting there in fourth. Josh Marcy got a good run through the field here going, Jake. He started 11th. He's up to 5th. Bo Tiffany started 9th, is in 6th. Rhett Tucker is up to 7th. Daniel Keith Jr. started 15th up to 8th, so a lot of spots gained there. Emerson Ardon started almost shotgun on the field in 20th. He's got a top 10 position in 9th. And Brad Williams, that last guy who was trying to look into the playoffs there, Jake, he moved up from 17th to 10th. So that's your run through the top 10 here with the Speed Racing Network.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it with guys, coming in at different points under different yellows. We're going to see this all night, and then you throw in the fact, Dean, it's the final race of the regular season with all the points shifting at each and every lap. Who's getting themselves in? I mean, this is what we've been talking about all night, and it's just, when we restack the field every yellow, we just got to look out for it.
Yeah, Jake, this field's going to constantly shift throughout the night, and right now your championship points leader, Gregory Joyner, is going to have the field to his rear. One of his teammates there, Nathaniel Mon, right behind him, he's going to take off, and a very good restart actually by Ryan Ducombe. I thought he was going to get to Gregory's outside, but he's going to look for the lead on the inside here heading for turn number 1, Jake. Got to be careful here.
Yeah, the 7 car to the inside of the 85. He's going to try to make the bottom side work. Added to that, it's going to be a drag race down the back into 3, Dean.
Yeah, Ryan's just going to kind of drive it down in here a little deeper, Jake. Now, the 85's going to have a good run off the corner, but I think
my goodness,
get clear, and he's around, Jake.
And
no caution's going to come out here. He's got to be careful not to hit this inside wall. Get it pointed straight. Good save there by Ryan Ducombe, but you've got to get this thing pointed straight and going in the right direction, Jake. Is back up front now, Gregory Joyner, after he sees a mistake by Ryan Ducombe. He's going to resume the lead. His teammate right behind him there in Nathaniel Mon. Devin Zimmerman now up to 3rd. Bo Tiffany going to be in 4th.
Yeah, that was something we've seen out of these RSR Xfinity drivers. I don't understand what's going on with these boys, Dean. I think we're going to have to give them a lesson on how to not spin yourself out like that, because they are just killing their chances. But up front, man, you got 2 Bronco drivers. The 85 of Gregory Joyner, the 84 Nathaniel Mon, and Devin Zimmerman in that 33 car looking to the inside. Nathaniel Mon for P2.
Yeah, Jake, you mentioned the RSR cars. I think the team owner needs to quit being cheap and actually go down there and buy a wedge wrench for these poor guys. So we might be able to find some sponsorship next season, see if we can't chip in for something like that.
And, thankfully, Dean, you got a new full-time job, so, you can pitch in too with that kind of mouth on a live broadcast. It's only right that you help the team. I mean, you've only been here for 2 years on the same team with me, so, hey, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why should I, the guy with no namesake on the team, go through and help out with the team owner to pay his bills? But nah, Jake, we kid. Definitely fun here to pick on each other in these broadcasts. But I tell you one thing, it's also fun to do is to watch this little battle that we've got right here around the tail end of the top 10. You got Zach Taylor right there behind the 89. You got Jovi on his way trying to work back through the field. It's going to be 3 wide here, Jake.
Here we go.
3. Is this going to work?
I believe
some guys get loose.
Oh man, that is good hard racing.
They're going to do it again, Jake. Oh, they backed out. Okay. I thought Jovi was going to. Oh, here we go. Oh, they're loose. Oh, don't go 4 wide. Please don't go 4 wide. I can't handle it. Oh, Lipicki slides up. He takes a shot from Joby. And these guys keep it straight, Jake. What a job by these drivers right now. That was awesome. That might be the best piece of driving, Jake, I have seen out of any of our top 3 series this season for any consecutive laps. That was great. Kudos to the drivers on track this evening.
Absolutely, and that's why these boys are in the Xfinity series. They're able to wheel these things. Even running side by side like that, having a heck of a drive through the field. And I tell you what, man, this 33 car can clear the 84. Man, he's gonna give a run for the lead spot. On Logan or on Gregory Joyner. But hey, you don't look now, but there's 3 Bronco cars in the top 4, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, and one of them's definitely got that winning experience, and that's Rhett Tucker. We've quietly seen him each and every week kind of start towards the middle of the field as we see Devin Zimmerman complete the pass on Nathaniel Mon. He looked to attempt to put the crossover, but got a little bit of the bumper from the 81 of Rhett Tucker. And so now Devin Zimmerman's going to set his sights here for the lead on Gregory Joyner. And Jake, with my 3 picks, hey, when you take 1/8 of the field, it's looking like I made a pretty smart pick this evening so far.
Yeah, absolutely. When you give them a little extra free tokens to take other drivers, I guess it makes your chances that much better. But, right now, these are 2 guys that have been running very consistently all season, but we've not seen them in victory lane. So it's honestly extremely exciting to see, some new faces up front leading these races, trying to go grab their first win of the season.
Yeah, Jake, and that's another thing. Like we said, we mentioned the momentum here in the playoffs. You want to go in here, you want to be able to do everything that you can to try and keep that momentum up from week to week. I take a look at the Truck Series and how Cole Martin has won several races here, several in a row. I take a look here at 3rd place now. Rhett Tucker, he's got him a few wins to his name. 3 short tracks in a row, actually, Jake. So, momentum means a lot here. It can definitely throw a bit of a loop for your fellow drivers around you when you get to these tracks, and they kind of scratch their head saying, well, what the heck am I doing wrong? And you're just out here running these dominant times. Those psychiatric games could be some fun ones to play, buddy.
Oh, it absolutely can. You get in the head of other drivers. You have good performances like Rhett Tucker's had on these short tracks, and here we are on another one. But back here, middle of the pack, you got Greg Olenek in that 31 car who's still in 13th place, even though he pit and got those new tires. So, he's trying to get his way back up front. Oh, a little contact for the lead. Devin Zimmerman into the door of the 85.
And there we go, new leader, car 33. We'll have to take a look back here on that, Jake, as Gregory Joyner tries to set his sights back towards Devin Zimmerman. But Zimmerman's going to get a lap led here at Richmond, and he's going to try to cruise off into the sunset. I didn't quite see the bump itself. I didn't see the move, but like I said, sometimes, Jake, you get a slower car out front, and they may be leading, but the faster ones are always going to find their way, and sometimes that may mean a bump. You may not like it as a leader, but sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, that's just short track racing, right? We're not at a mile and a half where it's 3-4 lanes wide. This is what short track racing is all about. All across the country Friday night. If you don't see clean cars at the end of a short track race, Dean, there's bound to be contact. A 3/4 mile of a track, especially when I almost saw the 84 car go around. Sorry about that. The 35 got into his left rear, as we saw right there. But yeah, it's going to happen. Some guys, get a little flustered from it. But man, you watch any NASCAR race on these short tracks, it's bound to happen, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, and I'll tell you right now, even though Devin Zimmerman's got this lead, it looks like Rhett Tucker's actually got just a little more speed than he does. The big thing I've noticed here with Rhett versus Devin, it looks like Devin's just charging the corners just a little bit harder. I think Rhett maybe has saved a little bit more tire. They're running very close lap times. One lap, Devin will come by, he'll be a little faster. The next lap, Rhett will come by, and he'll be a little faster. It seems like Rhett really carries a lot more speed off of turn 2 than what Devin does. He's going to be right up to his bumper here. I
tell you what, though, the driver that's in 4th place right now, Zachary Taylor, that 14 car, is absolutely flying right now on the track. He is moving his way through the top 5. He's now into P3. If you're Rhett Tucker, man, you got to get going because Zachary Taylor is a 1/10 and a half faster than you each and every lap. And right now, when you're battling with Devin Zimmerman for the lead, that's only going to allow that 14 car to close up that much quicker. So I think we're going to see this 14 car really, really reel them in here as these two go side by side into one really tight, pinching Rhett Tucker to the bottom lane there.
Yeah, Jake, Devin's going to try to make that outside lane work, and sometimes with a track like Richmond, when you got these three grooves, sometimes moving your lane up a little bit after you've run some laps green here can be a big difference. You know, you see Rhett kind of begin to pull ahead a little bit, then Devin just gets a big run down towards the end of the straightaway, but with Rhett having the shorter way around the track to go, I think he's going to clear Devin off turn 2 here.
Yeah, clear he does, and now he's got to set his sight. Obviously, we got a new leader with Rhett Tucker taking the lead, but I mean, he's got to get going because Zachary Taylor is closed up to the rear bumper of his teammate Devin Zimmerman. And I got to imagine when Zach gets there, you know, Devin's not going to try to hold him up like we saw when he was battling Rhett. So if you're that 81 car, man, you got to just put down flat flying qualifying laps, so to speak, to, you know, get that gap even more between you and Zach Taylor.
Yeah, Jake, can I tell you one big thing here that, you know, you and I have not even really made mention of. We've gone over 20 laps here. Ooh, 3 wide a little further back in the field here. That was close. I thought Josh Marcy, Greg Joyner, and Dylan Patterson were about to go on a spin cycle. But, you know, Jake, we've run a little over 20 laps here under green, closer to the 25 mark. So if you see a caution, anything happen here, you're going to find all these guys coming down pit road because I feel like right now you're really going to see the guys who are the fastest, the guys who've managed to save their equipment, the guys who are on their way through the field. They're going to be running the fastest lap times. You know, look back there in 8th, you got Greg Olenek just kind of knocking on the door, looking at this battle. You know, he knows what's at stake for him this evening, Jake, and while he wants to get up there to the front as quick as he can, he's just got to be very, very careful, very consistent as you see Greg Joyner get loose off turn 2 again.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, Greg Olenek needs as many points as possible. He's got to make that gap between Brad Williams, who's sitting in 18th, as many spots as possible. That way, you know, if there's any way in, you know, Greg Olenek's done his job and just kind of leaves it to the mercy of where Brad Williams finishes. But I told you, man, this 14 car has closed the gap. He's right on that rear bumper, this 81 car for Bronco Motorsports of Rhett Tucker. I think Zachary Taylor, you know, in the next few laps here is going to make a move for this lead. Zachary Taylor, man, has drove his way. Obviously, we saw him pit on that last yellow and kind of restart in the back of the pack when we saw him, Mike Lepicki, and Jovi Sagiped 3 wide at one point, and now, you know, he's driven his way all the way up to second place.
Jake, shades of last night, it looks like here. You know, you remember last night we were watching Corey Saucier try to chase down the Bronco Motorsports truck of Cole Martin, and, you know, they had varying lines, and look at it again. You know, it looks like Rhett comes off the corner just a little higher. Zach, maybe a half a lane down from where he is, as he's going to put his nose, he's going to try to get his nose underneath of Rhett, just not going to be able to complete it here. He's going to have to cool his tires down for a second and go back after him. Yeah,
Rhett really sent it into 3, kind of dove it in really deep, and I thought Zach was going to get a bit better of a drive off the corner down the front stretch, but Rhett Tucker makes it work and holds him off for one more lap as, you know, this battle for the lead continues to keep happening off of 2 down the back. I mean, they are right behind one another. No room for error between these two drivers.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, you got to remember Zach Taylor had a little bit of an incident earlier with Aaron Gerwitz, so I'd imagine he's probably used his fast repair to be able to have this kind of speed as he's to the left rear wheel of Rhett Tucker, but Rhett's just got that outside. He's able to roll just a little better, get a better bite and better run off the corner. But you just look here, Jake, Zach just gets another inch, another inch, another inch, and if he keeps running these nice consistent laps like this, sooner or later you're going to clear Rhett Tucker, but you got to note that 81 driver, he's not going to roll over and give it to you here.
No, not at all. I mean, Rhett's, you know, won 3 of the short tracks so far. He wants to go for the clean sweep of all 4 short track races, so that's something to watch. And, you know, we see the crossover here. Rhett's going to be on the inside of Zachary Taylor. You got to be careful if you're the 14 because you've seen him kind of dive in deeper. We're going to have some contact back here for 6th, 7th place. The 8 car, Dylan Patterson, went through the middle 3 wide and, you know, got into the left door, the 84 car there of Nathaniel Mon.
And caution is out on the speedway here, Jake.
Not too sure where it happened. It's going to be the 21 of Danny Dow. That's the 11 of Dustin Scruggs, and I believe there was a 3rd car in the grass that kind of sneaked away out of our camera view there.
Yeah, Jake, the 11, Dustin Scruggs involved in earlier incident. And I don't believe he has used his fast repair yet. He was kind of running around with that damage, so kind of makes you wonder how bad it is now. But Jake, great green flag run, but unfortunately we got to interrupt it here with the Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia Rec Replay. Let's see what happened.
We're going to see, looks like it's, I believe, the 57 of Emerson Ardon, I believe, was on the inside of Bo Tiffany, and he kind of checked up. He didn't want to get into him, and with him checking up, it kind of put Danny Dow and Dustin Scruggs in an awkward situation of where to go, and these two drivers, they're not thinking the 57 is going to check up like that, and just, you see these two guys try to avoid it, and there's just nowhere to go, and they make contact down the front stretch. Weird
spin there by Dustin Scruggs, because you noticed it was like he got loose, Jake, and when he got loose, Danny Dow got held up a little in front of him, and just the way he drove it off the corner, I mean, he started to break loose. I don't know if he got into the brakes trying to check up for those guys what happened, but he got loose, got into the right rear of Danny Dow, and around those two go. Looks like Stan Houseman got involved in it as well.
And he kind of, Dean, I don't know if you saw there, it looked like he was in third gear. He was hitting, the red lights on his RPM gauge. He was definitely almost hitting the chip in the engine, so I wonder if he was downshifting, and that's kind of what caused him to get that loose.
Yeah, definitely, definitely close here. So let's just take a look here. Oh, Jake, looks like Rhett Tucker did wind up winning the race off pit road. Zachary Taylor going to come out second. Jovi Soggypet on his march back through the field. He's up to third, and still quietly, patiently, Devin Zimmerman right where he started in fourth, Jake.
And fifth place, you got Josh Marcy, who needs to have a really good run to get himself into the playoffs. And, right behind him in sixth place is going to be the 31 of Greg Olenek, who needs just as good of a run to get himself into the playoffs. So, it's interesting. These guys that, need these great runs tonight are running side by side, battling each other on the track, and makes you wonder if they even know the where they sit with the playoff standings right now as this thing runs, and who they've got to be ahead of.
Yeah, Jake, I tell you right now, speaking of the playoff standings, let's go down to our pit reporter and resident mathematics expert here, Sean Griffith. Sean, what do you have for us?
Man, the best race on the track right now is between this number 35 of Josh Marcy, who is 9 points out of the playoffs coming into this race. The guy in front of him was Brad Williams, who's sitting back here in 12th. So right now, there's actually 7 spots between them, because Josh Marcy's in 5th, Brad Williams is in 12th. That's 7 points. So if Josh can gain a couple more spots, or if Brad Williams falls off a couple spots, we could see a different person in the playoffs than there is currently.
Absolutely, and that's something we got to keep our eye on, Dean. We've got 84 more laps to go, and Rhett Tucker is going to bring the field to the green, and Jovi Soggypet's going to be right behind his rear bumper as they go into 3. The two leaders are going to be side by side as they head to 1.
Yeah, Jake, Zach Taylor going to send it deep down here into the corner, and he's going to clear Rhett Tucker. But need to watch that 14 car, though, Jake. He's been super loose on these restarts, and it looked like that Rhett Tucker just got a little bit of a contact from behind by Jovi Soggypet. Might have slowed him up. But right now, like I said, Zach Taylor's going to reassume the lead as we begin to work lap number 69.
And the battle for fourth place side by side for Josh Marcy and Devin Zimmerman. And then the battle for fifth place is side by side of Greg Olenek. Zimmerman super loose, going to get into the wall. These boys
what a save! Jake, these guys have decided to bring out their absolute best tonight. Devin Zimmerman, that was a shot. I don't know if our production booth can get to it there, but I want to see that in slow-mo to see Devin Zimmerman's
favorite words ever is Dean Bromett saying, I wonder if we can get a shot of that one. But anyway, these boys save it. Zimmerman's going to fall back to 8th place, but, he avoided, a bigger tragedy of getting, into the outside wall or getting into a wreck and having to use a fast repair. He's saved it. He's in 8th place now, and, Greg Olenek as well, one of our playoff drivers that needs trying to get into the playoffs, needed to avoid anything like that to really put him back in the back of the pack, Dean. Here you go. Here's your shot.
Look at this, Jake. You can see Devin Zimmerman's hands. He's got white gloves on when he gets down here out of the corner. Just watch his hands work left to right, trying to save that car. What a job by Devin Zimmerman. What a job by everybody around him to not stack the field up there. Awesome job, guys.
Yeah, beautiful job there by our drivers, man. And then that's just the beauty of it on a short track is, things happen so quickly. You got to make instant decisions on where to put your car. And I mean, these guys are running in the top 5, avoiding accidents like that. That's awesome to see.
Yeah, Jake, I think these guys now, kind of realizing where they're at. The track here at Richmond's loose, it's fast, and these guys, they've seen their fair share of caution flags over the last few weeks with short tracks, and I think coming here and going through, knowing what's at stake. I mean, these guys are careful, but at the same time, they're not giving an inch either. No,
they definitely are not. And I mean, up front, Zachary Taylor still leading this thing almost a quarter of a second over Rhett Tucker. So, right now it's these two, and then you got 2 RSR cars in 3rd and 4th of Jovi Sagiped, who we saw loop it early on in the show, is now back up to P3, and Josh Marty, Brad Williams, Dean, back to 19th place. So not having the run he needs right now, but I mean, we're only halfway through this thing, so anything can happen in the second half of the race.
Yeah, Jake, he's having a little bit of a rough run back there, and I tell you, the guy who loves seeing it right there in 6th place, Greg Olenek, he's just trying to claw his way to the front of the field. I mean, Jake, you look at it, if they finished where they were right now, Olenek would be out on the outside looking in, but he claws a few more positions, possibly sees himself a P3, a P2. We could be looking at the playoffs standing on their head for the second night in a row.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. And looks like Rhett Tucker's kind of run Zach down. He, little by little every lap, he's just closing that gap, and I think we're going to see a battle for the lead here heat up soon, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, I think Zach Taylor just kind of used his tires up a little bit. I mean, he was so aggressive there on that start, but at the same time, you just kind of wonder here, is he now saving? We saw Cole Martin last night just save a ton of tires so that way, as the run got a little deeper, he maintained his gap perfectly. We see him take a super deep arc down here into the corner, and I think this is going to let Rhett Tucker get up to his bumper, but you just kind of wonder the in-car strategies right now, Jake, and they're a little bit of everywhere right now. But I tell you what, in 3rd and 4th place, you got 2 RSR cars in Jovi Sagiped and Josh Marcy. So the boss man is rising to the top again, Jake.
Yeah, you just hope Jovi Sagiped doesn't loop it for a 3rd time in 2 weeks, and doesn't take out his teammate who's right behind him, Josh Marcy. Obviously, Josh needs a really good run. If this thing were to end right now, he'd be locked into the playoffs, as he's 14 points ahead of Brad Williams right now, and he only needed 9 points, so that's something to watch. Does Brad Williams able to kind of climb back through the field, or does he just kind of hang out there all night? And that's the same situation Greg Olenek needs for him to have a shot of getting into these playoffs as well.
Yeah, Jake, and we were looking at Rhett Tucker just a moment ago. We were kind of talking about the tire strategies. You kind of begin to see a little bit of a gap, about 1 car length in between he and Zach Taylor now. So, much like what we've seen the last few nights, you've had maybe Zach Taylor runs a little better in one corner, Rhett Tucker runs a little better in the next corner, and right now it looks like Rhett's trying to search around for a little bit of speed. I definitely think he's faster than what Zach is in 1 and 2, and he's going to take a look to the inside here for the lead.
Hey, inside is definitely where Rhett's going to go here. It's going to be hard because Zach's going to get that big run off of 4. That's kind of where you want to be out of turn 4.
Yeah, Jake, and the thing is like we said, we're racing on short tracks. You got Phoenix a few weeks ago, got Bristol a couple weeks ago, Martinsville last week, and here at Richmond. Jake, the bumpers are fair game if someone winds up holding you up just a little bit, but I think with about 70 laps to go, you're just a hair too shy of if you're Rhett Tucker putting the bumper to Zachary Taylor just yet.
Yeah, if you use the bumper now, man, that opens the door for Zach to be able to use it to you later on in the race, and at that point it's fair game because if Rhett uses it now on lap 83, who's to say Zach can't use it on lap 149 or something like that. So you got to be methodical about it. You got to really think about it. Is it really worth it, or do I just kind of let this guy in front of me burn his stuff up a little bit more to get a better run off the corner to be able to make a pass without using the bumper? That's just something that's going to go through our drivers' heads as they're battling for the lead here.
Jake, did you by any chance happen to have a chance to debrief with any drivers this week to see how far they could go on fuel mileage by any chance?
Yeah, right now, I'm seeing on the 7 car of Ryan Ducombe, who pit, obviously with the leaders, he's got about 66 laps of fuel left, and right now, we've got 66 laps to go. in the race. But the longer this thing goes, the more they burn off. So I got to imagine they're gonna have to pit. Unless someone right now starts saving this moment, I just don't think these guys can make it without having to stop one more time.
It'll definitely be interesting to see here, Jake. Like you said, we've seen fuel strategy come to play in a lot of races this season between the 3 series for Speed Racing Network. Wouldn't it be crazy to see the last race of the Xfinity Series regular season being a short track come down to fuel mileage? That would be a little crazy to see here.
Yeah, it definitely would. I mean, it makes you wonder, did one of these guys trying to get that Hail Mary, just take fuel only to gain even more spots and points for themselves? So that's something we're going to have to keep our eye on, the longer this thing goes.
Yeah, Jake, and I want to give a shout out real quick here to Michael York, looking here into our chat. He just informed that he had lost an uncle recently, and even though Zach Taylor and he are completely affiliated with 2 different teams, Zach offered to run his uncle's name in remembrance and just wasn't able to get the paint scheme put together. So, he's pulling for Rhett Tucker, his teammate, but wants to mention that Zach is definitely a class act out there. So, Michael, our condolences here with Speed Racing Network go to you and your family, buddy.
Definitely. You never like hearing that at all, especially from one of our drivers. We're thinking about you, Michael, and your family. So, if you need anything, just let us know. We're one big family here at Speed Racing Network. So, don't hesitate at all. I know anyone here would do anything for anyone in this league. So, thinking about you, and hopefully, watching this race, if you are tonight, kind of lets your mind kind of get away from all that and just enjoy a good race here at Richmond.
Yeah, Jake, I tell you what, while we got this green flag run going here, someone I'd like to bring back up into the booth for just a little bit is our pit reporter, Sean Griffith. Sean, you're getting to see a lot of green flag action here this evening. How's that going? How's that going for you down there, buddy?
This is not what people expected coming into this race, and so we've had 4 short tracks this season. This is our 4th, and in the first 3 were just complete caution fests in pretty much all 3 leagues. And so everybody expected this to be a caution fest. I think a lot of people practice on those short runs, and it just has not been that way. So now they just have to kind of adapt. They have to kind of figure it out, and at the same time, just like we've been talking about all night, you have to look at the points too. And I mean, right now, Brad Williams down in 17th, Josh Marcy up in 3rd. If the race ended right now, then Josh Marcy would be in the playoffs. Brad Williams would be out.
That's just crazy to see here, Sean. And like you said, you come down all the hundreds of laps that we've run this season, and a lot of them under caution, a lot of them under green, a lot of great racing, a lot of different tracks, different styles, and we're going to come down to something here, almost 50 laps to go at Richmond. For some of these guys, it may come down to 1 or 2 positions. And Sean, we definitely enjoy having you here in the production booth. I've enjoyed working with you here this season in terms of some races that you and I broadcasted together. Like I said, unfortunately going to be my last go around here for a little while in the broadcast booth. So, Sean, one thing that's kind of got me amped up a little bit here that I know has you and a bunch of other people amped up for Speed Racing Network. Anything that you'd like to maybe tell the folks at home about this All-Star race that we've got planned?
Man, we haven't even finalized the details on how all this stuff is going to work. All I know is there is a lot of trash talking going on between all 4 of the team captains, and I'll be the first one to tell you I'm the leader of that trash talk. I have zero issue telling you that I am going to beat the tar out of Jason Tripp on the track. It's going to happen whether he likes it or not, and he actually he's so confident. He said that he would give me Speed Racing Network if I ended up winning the race. Not just beating him, but winning the race. And so, man, I think I got to start practicing. I want Speed Racing Network.
Wow, yeah. What a deal. I mean, we got that live on broadcast.
But my question, though, is because, I mean, that's a pretty big give by him. I mean, what did you have to put up in the gambling category to bet against Speed Racing Network?
Oh, nothing is worth more than my pride, Dean, and that's all I've got to put up is my pride. He is so confident that I'm not going to do well, and let's be completely honest, I haven't touched a steering wheel since season 1 of Mid-South Madness, and so it would be a long shot for me to win, but sometimes long shots pay off big.
Well, Sean, I know right now that the only thing we've really got figured out so far, we're going to have a draft day on Saturday, May the 1st. We're going to have some qualifying races, and then we're going to run the big event itself. So a lot of interesting stuff here planned for this all-star race, and we all look forward to it. Everybody here definitely wanting to try to be one of the drivers picked by one of the 4 captains. And right now up front, you got Zachary Taylor holding off Rhett Tucker, who's trying to put his name into the hat as a draft pick for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, all of these guys out here. Take a look at up and down this entire scoreboard. These are some great drivers out there. I mean, you have Daniel Bowler, who was out on lap 16. He's going to be one of the top picks. You got Jake Rowell. He's going to be one of the top picks. You have one of the guys that's on Rowell Smith Racing in the Cup Series that doesn't have a win yet this season, Dean Brummett. He will be a top pick. So I mean, there's so many great drivers in Speed Racing Network, and that's what makes us a little bit uncommon as opposed to other leagues, where other leagues have one good series. I think we've got 3 of them.
My only question, Sean, is, who would be delusional enough to take Dean Brummett? I mean, come on, man. I mean, from what I hear, that guy's contagious.
I heard you were going to go in round 27.
Okay, well,
there's only 20 rounds, but you might be like an alternate or something.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'll take what I can get here, Sean. We definitely appreciate the commentary, buddy. Thanks for coming up here into the booth, and stay cool down there on pit road, man.
Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of the race.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
We appreciate it, Sean Griffith. We always love, getting the insight on pit lane, Dean. And right now, the battle for 3rd place is getting insane.
Yeah, Jake, you got 2 teammates right there in Josh Marcy and Jovi Sagiped, kind of running nose to tail. And right now, Jake, they have definitely lost contact with the leaders. I mean, the leaders in Zach Taylor and Rhett Tucker are close to 5 seconds ahead of this group. So right now, they're kind of battling for that bottom of the podium finish, trying to be that interviewee after the race, the first one we get to talk to. But as they're battling, Jake, you just look a couple spots back. You've got Greg Olenek there in 6th, just kind of stalking, looking for every little spot that he can, just trying to work his way up through this field.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing, right? He's got to get clear of these guys and be able to get back up to the lead. Zachary Taylor and Rhett Tucker are about 5 seconds ahead of, this group of 4 drivers. So any one of these guys that get in front, they've got a long way to march back up to the leaders. So these guys got to go and, start making, quick lap times to really cut into the lead that Rhett Tucker has.
Yeah, Jake, and almost some contact there between Josh Marcy and Greg Olenek. Greg definitely thinks a little better of it, backs out just a bit as Jovi and Dylan Patterson get around that 35 car. Definitely sounds like the handling on that 35 is starting to go away just a little bit, and Jovi's going to put his nose here into a little bit of clean air. I don't know if he has 5.5 seconds worth of time gain clean air. But he's going to have to put his nose to the grindstone, and I think for all of these guys right now, they're hoping for a caution without it being them.
Yeah, definitely. And Dean, I mean, we are definitely going to have pit stops. There's 45 to go, and I see these guys can only make it 40 laps. So to save 5 laps, with only 45 to go, you got to be saving now, if you haven't already, and you got to be saving big. So you got to be dropping your pace off a lot. So Danny Dow is going to be the first one down pit lane, that 21 car for Team SRN, Dean. Of course, as we talk about the strategy, here's our first guy down pit lane.
Yeah, Jake, and here's going to be the big thing with Danny Dow. He's going to be carrying a ton of speed with those brand new tires. One driver that I'm kind of putting my eyes on right now, 2nd place Rhett Tucker. He's fallen off to almost a second back from Zachary Taylor, and I wonder how much of that is handling. I wonder how much of that is Zachary being faster, and how much of that is Rhett possibly doing what you said there, Jake, maybe just rolling back on the throttle a little bit, saying, hey, if this thing goes green for another, 15, 20 minutes, I might be sitting here sputtering coming across the checkered flag, but if I do it first, the post-race burnouts are fun, but the win is even more fun.
Yeah, I got to imagine he's not really saving much. I mean, he was only about a tenth slower than Zach Taylor last lap, so I don't think he's saving fuel. I think he's just kind of falling off the pace Zachary Taylor is able to have right here. As you see, Danny Dow gonna get himself back on, or one of his 2 laps that he's down because of pitting early. So he's gonna only be 1 lap down. He's gonna have to make quick work of all these other slower cars with the older tires and really gain as much time as possible.
But he's got to be careful too, Jake, because I mean, like I said, when you're hauling 2.5, 3 seconds a lap faster than anybody else out on the track, your closing speed is so much greater. As Dylan Patterson says, you know what? I'm not playing the fuel strategy game. I'm going to come get 4 brand new Feel Goods. But back there in that little group that he was in there, Jake, between Jovi Sagiped, Greg Olenek, Josh Marcy, all of them, that's going to start forcing those guys' hands to have to come to pit road soon here if they believe that they cannot stretch that fuel.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. You know, I think Jovi Sagiped going to come down pit lane. His teammate Josh Marcy going to come down pit lane. So that's 2 RSR drivers. Notice in the 8 car, Dylan Patterson has come down. They don't want to lose touch on him. So that's a good move right there, as you saw, you know, multiple guys behind them coming by. So this is, you know, I think this is really going to open the door for green flag pit stops. You know, Zach Taylor and Rhett Tucker are kind of, well, I mean, Rhett Tucker is now coming down pit lane, but Zachary Taylor has to be very aware of this. You can...
oh, Jake, Rhett Tucker missed pit road his last time by.
Oh, man, so he lost a ton of time.
He lost a ton of time. Yeah, he slowed down, was trying to get to pit lane, went to go hit the brakes, downshifted, and just he missed it.
Coming down pit lane. Zachary Taylor going to come down pit lane. That's going to give the lead to Greg Olenek here, who's going to come by and stay out. So he's going to take over the lead of this race. So kind of wonder, does he have enough fuel? Maybe, you know, he needs that win. But I tell you what, Dean, you better be certain you have enough fuel, because if you misjudge this at all, this could really ruin your chances of making the playoffs. So you got to be extremely certain about this decision. If he doesn't come down pit lane here in these next few laps, as we see him one more time come down or pass, you know, pit lane.
Yeah, Jake, and I think if you're Greg Olenek, your perfect world scenario here, because you've got a little bit of fuel left. I mean, we don't know if he's going to have enough, especially with saving, to go to the end. And even with saving, you're dealing with such a massive speed difference. It does not take long for you to get caught here. But with Greg Olenek, if he can pull these last 35 laps out under green and win this race, this could be huge. But I think his perfect world scenario right now, he wants to see this thing go maybe another 10, 15, 20 laps. And right before he pits under green, he wants to see a caution come out, because he knows that'll force everybody's hands to come back down.
Definitely. And, you know, you see Zachary Taylor there right behind our leader of the race. So Zach's going to get, you know, back onto the lead lap.
Ooh, Gregory Joyner in the outside wall.
That out of 2. Big lick there as he's trying to get to pit lane. He's going to dive down and make it into pit lane. Devin Zimmerman in front of him on pit lane. That's Aaron Gerwitz in the 09 behind him. So that's only going to leave, you know, another probably 8 cars on the lead lap that have not come down pit lane once this thing cycles through. But Greg Olenek, you know, still in this lead. He's got a gap. I mean, I don't know if he can save this much, but like we've said, Dean, you know, he's got to have that Hail Mary miracle to get himself in the playoffs. Is this how he if this is how he does it, this is going to be pretty remarkable to get himself into the playoffs.
Yeah, and Jake, right now, Zach Taylor, the driver who was leading before that round of green flag pit stops, last time by, he was about 23 seconds behind Greg Olenek. As I go through and look this time by, he was about 21 and a half seconds. So right now, you're looking at about 1.5, 2 seconds of a difference here. You know, if you're Zach Taylor and you continue to cycle through at the rate that you are, if you're doing 2 seconds a lap, you're going to catch Greg Olenek with about 20 laps left to go in this race. If you're only knocking a second and a half off, as these laps click off, it's going to slowly but surely make your lap times fall a little more. You're going to gain less and less and less and less. And right now, I think Olenek, I think he's played his hand. We know what his strategy is, Jake. He's going to need to move up here and let Rhett Tucker by so he doesn't worry about hindering his own race. But right now, Greg Olenek, his cards are on the table, buddy, and he's just hoping that the payout window gets to him in time.
Yeah, you know, I got to imagine his pace really hasn't fallen off much, so I don't necessarily think he's saving fuel. I think he's kind of going as far as possible, hoping he catches a yellow flag, because obviously he'd be in the lead when they come down pit lane, because if a yellow were to come out at any point right now, you know, even these leaders that just pit would be following him at pit lane, and that would give the, you know, the track position to the 31 car of Greg Olenek, as you see that, you know, a car right behind him get right up to his rear bumper on those newer tires in that 3 car.
Yeah, and Jake, I tell you, another thing that's a little interesting to me as I go back and look, you got Brad Williams back and forth, which is the guy that Greg Olenek is trying to bump out of these playoffs. I can't tell if he is running a fuel strategy or what he is doing, but he is still out on track, about 15 seconds behind Greg, and Greg just pulling a little bit faster away from him, just a little bit by little bit by little bit. So, like I said, I don't know how these two differing strategies are going to work here, Jake, but I know right now the last two things I would ever want to be on a racetrack is an RSR fuel calculator and a Speed Racing Network points calculator down there on pit road.
Absolutely. Gotta love the shade being thrown to your own team. Maybe that's why you haven't found it in Victory Lane. I don't know. Because we were on the same strategy at Homestead and it didn't work out for you. But here you go. Another one of these guys that came down pit lane going to get their lap back. So another guy, in that playoff hunt with them is going to be that 35 car of Josh Marcy. That way he doesn't get trapped the lap down, have to use the wave around or anything like that. So these guys that are trying to get back around this 31 car need it, happen quickly, because if the yellow were to fall and you're one of these guys, you're going to have to take the wave around, but then you're going to be stuck on, 10, 15 lap older tires than all these leaders that will get fresh tires, Dean.
Yeah, Jake. Right now, we're going to go down here to pit road one more time with our statistician, Sean. What's going on, buddy? What you got for us?
One of the guys that has stayed out so far, that has not pitted since lap 64, is Brad Williams, the 89. Now, remember earlier we said that he was dropping way back in the pack, but right now he is actually in front of Josh Marcy on the track. So if Brad Williams can stretch this fuel and just stay out, he doesn't have to win, he just has to stay in front of Josh Marcy, then he will make the playoffs and Josh Marcy will be out.
Wow.
Interesting stuff.
The plot thickens, Dean. I mean, it's just it's nail biting. It's going to come down to this final lap.
Yeah, Jake. I mean, that's what it's going to boil down to here. And these guys are they're taking, they're given a lot of ground here. Right now we're coming down to about 23 laps to go, coming to 22. Right now, as you go back and look, Zach Taylor is just moved into second. He's right at about 12 seconds behind Greg Olenek. So at the pace he's at now, he would have to eat up Greg's lead by about a half a second per lap, every single lap, without any hindrance, to be able to get there just in time to try and pass him for the lead. So, Jake, I don't know how these tires are going to continue to fall off. I don't know what type of fuel strategy that Greg's on. I don't know if there is a fuel strategy other than hope and pray that a caution comes out. But right now, buddy, we're definitely watching a very interesting race develop.
And that last lap, Zachary Taylor was 0.7 faster than Greg Olenek. So, if it's only a half a second he needs every single lap, right now he's, taking that and a little bit more. So it's only helping his cause. And there it is again. It was, 10.7. Now it's down to 9.9. So another 0.8 of a second. So Zachary Taylor is, taking chunks out of this lead lap by lap. I think he's going to get there. I just hope Greg Olenek doesn't have to come down pit lane and there's no yellow, because that's really just going to, kind of flip this thing upside down for him. Zachary Taylor got into the outside wall out of 4, though. Not a big amount of damage, but he definitely scraped the outside wall.
Yeah, Jake, we're under 20 laps to go here now, buddy. I mean, this race is definitely clicking off at a fast pace, which I think definitely shows the talent level that our Xfinity Series drivers have. And right now, man, I think of all the races that you and I have gotten to call this season, this is for sure the most intriguing one I think we've gotten to call, without a doubt.
Oh, 100%, Dean. This is, as you see the 5-car, little sketchy moment for our leader. Obviously, that guy, or the 5 of Derek De Silva, trying to get down to pit lane and had to, cut across the track to make it, and it happened all in front of our leader. So that's, a nerve-wracking feeling when you're the 31 car. And I just want to see if we can't move up or back to this 89 car of Brad Williams, who's in 6th place right now. You see Dylan Patterson in the 8, and that's that 35 car of Josh Marcy making the move to the inside. So right now, if Brad Williams isn't able to make it, how far back does he fall? Does he lose the amount or the number of positions that 35 car needs to make it into the playoffs? Or is Brad Williams able to kind of hold at some point and, have a little bit of a buffer points-wise to that 35 car? All while the 31 car, Greg Olenek, is still leading. But, Dean, that lead is down to 6.9 seconds to Zachary Taylor.
Yeah, Jake, I'm telling you, man, this lead, it's still dwindling, but it is dwindling by a little less and a little less by every single lap. So these tires are starting to stabilize here. Like I said, with about 16 laps to go.
Oh, Greg Olenek just got into the outside wall at it too, though. That's really going to hurt him this lap. I really don't know if he can make it on fuel, though, Dean. So I know he's praying and hoping for a yellow flag, and right now he's not gotten it. And I got to imagine soon, with only 15 laps to go, the 31 car is going to have to come down pit lane.
Jake, I think at this point of the race, I think he's made his bed. I mean, I don't know how close he is on fuel. I don't know how many laps that he can make it. But I think at this point, buddy, he's made his bed. I think he'll run the thing dry before you see him on pit road again.
Definitely. I got to agree with you there. It's the only way for it to work for him at this point, because you come down pit lane, and even if you just get a splash of gas, I mean, the amount of time you take rolling down the entire pit lane, getting to your box, getting service, and coming out, I mean, you'd be lucky to still be on the lead lap. I think you'd be, at least one, if not almost 2 laps down with just how quick these laps are.
If I'm Greg Olenek, the biggest thing I want to see right now is that flag man with a yellow in his hand. That is the biggest thing I would love to see, because right now Zachary Taylor under 4 seconds behind you. He's got not quite clean air, Jake, but he's got a lot of room between he and the next car in front of him. So he's going to start reeling into that lead a little quicker and a little quicker now, which at this point with Greg Olenek, he might not be playing the hey, let's win this race game. I mean, yes, he definitely wants to win this race. He's trying to get every point that he can out of this season right now.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the thing, right? It's go time for these guys, whether they're trying to get into the playoffs or they're trying to get bonus points for the first round of the playoffs, and just kind of put the league on notice who the front runners are going to be for this first round of the playoffs. Obviously, it's 15 drivers, but 5 guys are knocked out, so this is getting interesting. We're closing in on 10 laps to go this time by for our leader. Greg Olenik's gotta. Zachary Taylor got really loose out of turn 2, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, he is driving the wheels off that thing. He doesn't know what Greg Olenik's pit strategy is. He doesn't know if he's got the fuel to make it. All he knows is that's a car in front of him, and he's got some lap traffic to work through. I mean, I think the lap traffic's going to give way to Zach Taylor when he gets there, as he comes up on the 23 of Daniel Keith Jr. But, Jake, we are inside of 10 laps to go now, buddy, and we're going to see if this fuel's going to hold for this 31 car.
Yeah, I wonder if we can ride on board in the cockpit to see if he's even clutching it and shutting the motor off in the corner, because that's really going to let us know if Greg Olenik's saving, and I just don't think he is. So I think, like you said, Dean, he's just riding this thing out until, he either has to come down pit lane or the yellow flag flies.
Yeah, Jake, and like I said, if a caution were to hypothetically come out right now, you'd restart with about 4 or so laps to go. With as many cars as what would be on the lead lap, you'd still see everybody pit. I mean, everybody would have to pit, whether it be for 4 tires or 2 tires. Something they'd be pitting to be able to try and stay competitive. Zach Taylor's going to be moving right back behind. He's pulled it within about a second here as he moves to the inside of the 7th car of Brian Ducombe, and he's going to set his sights now on that leader of Greg Olenek. Like I said, I think Greg's time in the lead is dwindling here, Jake. I don't think he's going to fight Zach too much, but, man, at the same time, that's a W. That's a win position. We could see anything in these last 7 laps.
Oh, yeah, but at the end of the day, though, the 89 car, Brad Williams, is in 8th place, but here he comes down pit lane, and Greg
Olenik's pit too.
And that's it. Yep, that unfortunately, I think is going to seal the deal for those 2 drivers with their playoff shot. I mean, with this thing being 5 laps to go, Dean, there's no way they are able to gain those spots back to be able to, gain those points they need.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, like I said, they were doing everything that they could, and, I think we can second guess anybody. We can do what we want to. I think if maybe those guys had been saving fuel from the start of that run, I don't think 5 laps is unreasonable to try and get out.
No, I definitely don't. I mean, we definitely talked about it with about 45 to go. If you're clutching it, shutting the engine off, I think that's doable. Especially at a short place like this, where it's it's really not that, you just not as hard on the gas through the straightaways when you come off corner exit, a little bit easier. it's a call. We wonder if it, could work. Obviously, we're not going to see it this year, but Zachary Taylor is going to come by this time with 3 laps to go. So let's give you a little breakdown. It's going to be that 14 car, Zachary Taylor in the lead, Rhett Tucker in the 81s in second, Jovi Sagiped's in third place, Dylan Patterson's going to be in fourth, and then Josh Marcy having a great run in fifth place. What he needs to get himself in the playoffs is the 89 car. Brad Williams is down to 19th place. So, if there's not a yellow flag or anything like that, it's shaping up to be pretty solid run for the 35 car to get himself in the playoffs.
Yeah, Jake, and like I said, just kind of looking at some of these other guys, some names we mentioned, you got Devin Zimmerman with a very good run there in 6th that we just saw. Got Danny Dow working on a top 10 finish in 9th. Greg Joyner from 18th up to 8th. But right now, Jake, we've got 2 laps to go as Zachary Taylor works his way around here at Richmond. Going to be working his way through turns 3 and 4. The white flag comes out here at Richmond. Zach Taylor comes under the white flag one more time around here.
Yeah, one more time around this 3/4 mile track. So this is going to be it for the 14 car. He's going to try to get to that start finish line. And here he is out of 4. He's going to run the high side. He's going to bring it home. Zachary Taylor is going to win the Rich Get Richer 150 here at Richmond Raceway.
And just a great race for that 14 car tonight, Jake. He was on a differing strategy there from the 31 and drove that car as hard as what he possibly could in an effort to try and get back up there, put that pressure on the 31, and in the end just managed to get where he needed to be.
Absolutely. Zachary Taylor, running up front all night. Awesome win for him, and it's going to be awesome to see. Obviously this sets the field for the playoffs, Dean.
Yeah, Jake, he's going to burn it down here in that number 14 car, as he deserves the right to in winning this race, especially in the fashion that he had. And I imagine we're going to see his teammates out there celebrating with him. And we'll go down to victory lane here in just a bit. But for right now, Zachary Taylor, your winner at Richmond International Raceway.
Absolutely. And, you see him burning it down here in the grass at Richmond Raceway. He's got to be pumped up, and you see his teammates here waiting for him at the start-finish line. All of Tanked Racing, all 5 of their drivers were in this thing tonight, so they're going to celebrate this win. And, I got to imagine, I wonder what this is going to do for the team championship aspect of this thing as well.
It'll be interesting to see here, Jake, but right now let's take a look at our finishing lineup here from Richmond, our unofficial results. Like we said, got Zachary Taylor there in the 14, winning the Rich Get Richer 150 for Tank Racing. Rhett Tucker for Bronco Motorsports in second. Jovi Sagip had a good rebound this evening here in third for Roel Smith Racing. Dylan Patterson in fourth for R&D Motorsports. Josh Marcy in fifth for RSR. Devin Zimmerman in sixth for Tank Racing. Gregory Joyner, your points leader coming into this race, in seventh for Bronco Motorsports. Nathaniel Mon in eighth for Bronco as well. So great run for Bronco. They've got 3 of their drivers in the top 10, and then Team SRN is going to round out your top 10 with Danny Dow in 9th and Bo Tiffany in 10th.
11th place is going to be Ryan Ducombe from Roel Smith Racing. 12th place is going to be Aaron Gerwitz from Rev Racing. His teammate Greg Olenek in 13th. 14th place is going to be Mike Lepicki from Tanked Racing. One of his teammates is going to finish right behind him in 15th as Emerson Ardon. Then 16th is going to go to Brad Williams, the 89 for Bronco Motorsports. Then you got a couple of Roel Smith Racing teammates. That's going to be in 17th, Dustin Scruggs, and in 18th, Troy Techmeyer. So that's all 5 Roel Smith Racing cars in the top 18. Daniel Keith Jr. for Team SRN in 19th. And then rounding out our top 20 is going to be Derek Da Silva in that 5 car for Tanked Racing.
Well, Jake, I tell you what here, we're going to have our pit reporter, Sean Griffith, up in the booth here in just a little bit to give us that final rundown towards the tail end of championship points. But for right now, we're going to pull our third place finisher up here into the booth. Jovi Sagiped, this is Dean Brummett and the boss man, Jake Roel, up in the Speed Racing Network booth. How you doing this evening, buddy?
Sheesh, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome, man. Hey, a third place finish this evening. We saw you kind of go through, have a little bit of an event earlier in the race, and have to drive your way back up through the field. Walk us through your race this evening, Jovi.
Oh, I was just cruising out there for a while, but after getting spun and sent to the back, it was pretty fun because you could kind of run the high line, but After the long green flag run, I was just sliding the right front the whole race.
Definitely, man. You know, Jovi, we see you loop it again up front again here tonight at Richmond Raceway. Is it just something you're doing in the car, or is it just snapping loose out from underneath you? You know, I gotta ask because I'm gonna have to work with you, I guess, this week. Obviously, you know, running into the playoffs, we don't need that happening.
I actually got right into the back of it. It was net code between me and Nathaniel Mon. But I guess no one saw it, but it was net code. I actually didn't spit out myself this time. But Ryan did. He definitely did.
Well, Jovi, great run by you here this evening. Anybody that you'd like to thank before we send you back down here to the team?
I would definitely shout out RSR, definitely Jake, everyone back at home. Definitely shout out to our sponsors off Apex Designs. Just shout out to everyone that helps run this because it's an amazing time and really fun racing.
Well, Jovi, we had fun watching you here this evening, buddy. Have yourself a good evening. We'll get you back down here to your team.
Later, guys.
Well, Jake, we got to hear from your the driver under your belt here. Let's hear from our second place finisher this evening. Rhett Tucker has had some great runs at the past few weeks on the short track. Rhett Tucker, Dean Brummett, and Jake Rowell up in the Speed Racing Network booth. How you doing this evening, buddy? Rhett Tucker, this is Dean Brummett and Jake Rowell up in the Speed Racing Network booth. Do you have a copy?
What's up, guys?
Hey, not much, buddy. Hey, congrats on the second place finish. We know that you wanted to go through and sweep the short tracks. You came super close to it here this evening, buddy. A second place finish at Richmond. Walk us through your night.
Man, that was another learning experience for me. I felt like I was just, I don't know, having to feel the track out. Once I could finally hang with Zach, I figured I'd pit a little early and, you know, get a head start on some freshies, and I blew by the pit entrance. So there went my race.
Well, man, you know, I think all of us were kind of expecting a caution somewhere near the end of the race. And, you know, a lot of green flag laps here tonight, Rhett. Did that kind of catch you by surprise, or did you kind of expect this thing to set up green?
Honestly, yeah, I was totally surprised. But I love having good long, you know, green flag runs where you got to actually kind of conserve your stuff or, you know, adjust your line. That's a fun aspect, but I don't know. I'm super bummed I messed up my pit entry, man.
Well, buddy, I completely understand. Happens to the best of us here. And Rhett, you know, this could be my last night here, unfortunately, in the Speed Racing Network booth for a while. And you guys got to send me out on probably the best race I've got to call this year. So, Rhett, before you go, buddy, before we get you back down to your team, anybody that you'd like to thank here?
Yeah, thank you, Dean, for doing a killer broadcast every week. Speed Racing Network, everybody at Bronco, Shoney's, Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia, Mauer Bites. Everybody that tunes in every week, man, this is a good deal. It's a lot of fun.
Well, buddy, we definitely appreciate it here, and I appreciate it as well, Rhett. Have yourself a good evening. Congrats on your second place finish again.
All right, Dean. Well, that was second place, Rhett Tucker. We're going to get our winner of tonight's race for the Rich Get Richer 150 at Richmond Raceway. That's going to be Zachary Taylor. We're going to get him up here in the booth just momentarily. Zachary Taylor, it is Jake Rowell and Dean Brummett up in the SRM booth, buddy. You bring it home, P1. You had a heck of a drive, man. How you feeling tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling just so grateful. Grateful tonight. You know, I don't think any of that was me. In case the viewers at home didn't know, we had a driver in the truck series who I'll keep privacy because I don't know exactly how he feels about it. Okay, all right. Well, he this wins for his uncle and that whole family. I don't think I did any of that. I swear to God, I didn't. I don't even know what just happened. But that was kind of special.
Well, Zach, we got to speak with that driver here a little earlier in the race, and man, you drove just an absolute heck of a race here this evening. And you know, we had mentioned the not being able to get the paint scheme together in time for the in memoriam. But man, you definitely did them proud this evening here. So I know that's going to go a long way here to with the York family. So Zach, I tell you what here, buddy, P1. I know we've seen you kind of in and out just due to other duties here throughout the last few weeks. But man, getting to return back to victory lane for the season finale. Tell us, man, what's the emotions going through right now?
Oh man, it's going through so many mixed emotions. I mean, I'm happy. I'm extremely happy right now. Just it's an amazing feeling right now. I'm still in disbelief of what just happened. I mean, Richmond's not one of my better tracks, so to win here that's something special.
Well, buddy, congrats on yourself, your third win of the season. Before we get you back down here to the rest of your team, getting ready to start these playoffs, anybody that you'd like to thank here this evening?
For sure, you and Jake, y'all have done an awesome job here recently. Ryan and them for practicing with me this week, get me ready for tonight. All of Tank Racing, they provided some really good information tonight as far as pitch strategy and such. And then obviously the whole tank or the whole York family, we've got y'all in our prayers.
Well, Zach, awesome job here, buddy. Congrats on yourself. Another win. We're going to get you back down here to your team. Have yourself a great night, buddy. Congratulations again.
Thank y'all.
Well, Jake Rowell, we got to hear from Victory Lane here with Zachary Taylor. And, our fans at home have been wondering the last few weeks, where in the world is Sean at? Where in the world is Sean at? And we let you know tonight he was stuck down here on pit road. And we showed you a graphic at the top of the show in terms of what drivers had wound up making the playoffs. We're going to bring Sean in here one last time here this evening, Jake, to kind of give us a little bit of information. Sean, those last few drivers we were trying to see lock in and try to make the playoffs, who is going to be that bottom four that we were looking at?
Man, that was an insane race, a lot of fun. Anytime you get green flag pit stops on a short track, that was amazing driving. So great job to everybody out there. But we talked about it on the broadcast. When Brad Williams kind of ran out of fuel, had to come into pit, it dropped him down too far to stay in the playoff chase. Joshua Marcy was able to overtake him. So Joshua Marcy will be our 15th driver in the playoffs. So let's go down the playoff list here really quickly. So Greg Joyner will be your point leader going into it. Rhett Tucker in second. Jovi Sagiped. Then you have Zachary Taylor, our winner tonight. Ryan Ducombe. Michael Lepicki. Then you have Dylan Patterson. Aaron Gerwitz. Marshall Stanley, Bo Tiffany, Daniel Bowler, who actually went out, on lap 16 this race, still in the playoffs there. Nathaniel Mon, Devin Zimmerman worked his way in. Emerson Ardon defended his spot, and then finally Joshua Marcy making it in on the last race of the season.
Well, there you go, fans. You've got your list there. You've got your ones that are going to be doing the battle for the last several weeks here for Speed Racing Network. And Jake, with you being the boss man, you get to see one of your other drivers and Josh Marcy sneak his way in at the last moment. So I'd say that's got to be a heck of a feeling for you there, buddy.
Yeah, it definitely is. Obviously he comes home P5. Heck of a drive, deserves to be in it with that last-ditch effort here tonight at Richmond Raceway. But another great, rush of feelings going to be next week, man. Round one of the playoffs for 15 drivers. We're going to be headed to the high banks of Talladega Super Speedway for the Talladega Days 160 next Thursday, April 22nd at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Dean, I know you'll be unfortunately not up in the booth, but I think this one's going to be pretty wild to start the playoffs off at a super speedway like Talladega.
Yeah, buddy. It's this first round of the playoffs is absolutely wacky. We've had a lot of fortunate ability this year to have some stability in terms of the tracks that we've run. We've run a few mile-and-a-half tracks together. The last 3 weeks, we've wound up going through having 3 short tracks back to back to back. And then if you want to count Phoenix as a short track, you got another one there. So, Jake, our first round of the playoffs, we're going to go plate track. We're going to go to a road course. We're going to go to a mile-and-a-half track. So, man, these guys, you just got through your regular season. You hit that reset switch, buddy, and it is all out, foot to the floor for the next several weeks.
Absolutely, and no pun intended with the next race for the Xfinity Series being at Talladega. But our next broadcast, which is going to be Sunday night for the Speed Racing Network Cup Series. It's going to be the regular season finale for all 3 series, with the Cup Series at the Rich Get Richer 200 at Richmond Raceway for the Cup Series. That's going to be Sunday night, April 18th at 8:30 p.m. Central, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be the same kind of storyline, Dean. It's and you factor in the fact that there's no faster pairs for these drivers. For us in the Cup Series, it's coming down to 8th through 15th place, and then one driver outside the cut line. It's 8 drivers trying to fight for those final 7 spots of the playoffs. So, Sunday night's race is going to be just as intense. You throw in 50 extra laps, no faster pairs. This thing could be wild Sunday night. So it's going to be awesome to be sitting in the driver's seat watching it all unfold. But man, Dean, obviously, like we've touched on here tonight, this is your last broadcast for, who knows how long until you get an opportunity to come back up here in the booth. But, we've been doing this for, almost 12 weeks together. It's been an absolute blast with you up here in the booth, Dean, and I just, I got one thing to say for everyone in Speed Racing Network and for the fans to say, this is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements I've personally ever had to make. But after the fortunate hiring at Volvo Group, we've lost Dean Brummett in the SRM booth.
Well, Jake, I appreciate it, buddy. We, like I said, definitely want to thank all of our fans here for Speed Racing Network, and Jake, like I said, definitely want to thank our drivers, want to thank our fans, our broadcast crew, Sean Griffith, everybody giving me an opportunity up here to be able to go through and do these races, and like I said, Jake, hopefully one day I could be back up here in the booth, but like you touched on, Sunday night, I'm definitely going to be down on the track here. So, guys, we definitely want to thank you so much here. Signing off for the last time, this is Dean Brummett.
And Jake Rowell.
Oh, and Sean Griffith, I suppose.
Oh, you see, I was waiting for him. My goodness gracious. Look at that. We managed to get our worst commentary for last. Go ahead, Jake. You got it here, buddy. You got to shape up here to carry it.
From
now.
all of us at SRN, this is Jake Rowell, Dean Brummett, and Sean Griffith in the production booth. We thank you for watching. We always remind you to go faster.